I'm intrigued by this game for Sam.
Well, I think the Niners would gladly bring him back on a similar number, right? Like I think I think he has a job with the 49ers. Do you agree with that statement?
I 100% agree with that.
And I think he clearly, I haven't heard him speak lately because he doesn't have to talk. I guess he'll talk, this week. But
I think he talks today, Thursday.
Yeah, being with the Niners and on the West Coast means a lot to him. He's very comfortable. Clearly, it kind of solidified, just got his career just under control. You throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, though, we saw with Baker Mayfield, someone calls you like, you're going to get a chance to start here. He does not have a chance to start with the 49ers. And maybe he just values doing this again. Some guys just kind of, I don't want to say get content, but have just seen like who's offering me the chance to compete, like the New England Patriots or the Atlanta, like a team that might suck and that could derail my career. I think he has less on the line because I think he's okay. Like I don't even think the Niners would be alone. I think other teams at that number would gladly give him a spot. Like I think they would be in competition to keep him. Carson Wentz was out of the NFL. Like when I hear Joe Flacco's out of the NFL, yeah, he's 38 years old. People thought he was done. Right? He hadn't been good in 5 years. Lombardi, I heard had a good line. Mike Lombardi was like, I know everyone wants to give Hamlin the comeback player of the year. He survived death. Joe Flacco survived 2018. This is the last time he was any good. Like, I mean, it's been 5 years. He couldn't play. But like Carson Wentz he just turned 31, is 30 years old. Like his counterpart in the draft is like leading a playoff team. Yeah.
In his prime.
He's kicking ass, like back-to-back years throwing combined like 50-plus touchdowns. Total, not this year. But we've kind of seen glimpses of Sam Darnold. I got a pretty good idea, like kind of what he is. Again, like totality of a game. He's going to be throwing a lot to like Ronnie Bell and handed to Jordan Mason. I think Carson Wentz is fascinating in this thing. I think the Rams are an interesting bet. I think the line is just put that way because the Niners own them. But this game is, I envision Kyle running the same play over and over, probably, especially if Trent has to play a little bit because of a numbers game, which I still don't think happens, but you never know. Runs the other way, just zone runs all day long, 3-and-out punt, play a little defense with Owen Burks or whoever on defense. To me, Carson Wentz, like I think McVay's going to sling it around with him.
Well, I think you're right. I
don't think mean Kyle will just call his like kind of his offense looks like his offense. I think they're going to go like 4 wide and fucking sling that pill.
Well, they're going to do it at first, like I say, because they're going to be forcing the ball to Puka Nacua. I think.
How many yards? Do you know how many yards he needs?
Yeah, Puka needs. Let's see. He's got 1,445, and he needs 1,473. So like 30. He needs like 30 yards.
So there's a chance he's going to get to 1,500 yards.
Chance to get to 1,500, and he needs 4 catches to pass Jalen Waddle's receiving record. So he's got the receiving rookie record on the line and the yards rookie. So like the first drive,
little inflated then. So this isn't like a Jerry guy from the 80s or the 90s, right?
Right.
Right.
Could become normal. The receiving record is a Houston Oiler from 1960. So
gotcha.
That's it. But my point is, like, I think they're going to come out just throwing the ball to him and hope that they can get Puka out of the game in one series. I think Sam has much more upside still than Carson Wentz does. But my analogy would be McVay and Shanahan in like an old martial arts movie, or like they're fighting and one of them knocks the gun away and the other one's got a gun, but they're in it for the art of the battle. So the guy with the gun puts his gun away so they can hand-to-hand combat. Like that's what these two guys facing off with Darnold and Wentz are. And you have to give the advantage to Darnold. I've seen him play intriguing football. Now I've watched.
I totally agree.
He's been with the team all year. I went to camp. I watched a ton of Darnold. I've been waiting for this game. I told you I thought it was a higher percentage than it ended up being that Darnold would see some legitimate like snaps this year. Didn't happen. Darnold's had to wait till week 18. And I do think you're right. Like there's a chance that Darnold has seen the underbelly of being a starting quarterback on a shitty team and just has a good situation. And it's like, let me just stabilize my life and my career a little bit here with Kyle. He'll be 27 next year. So he does have time to like spend another year with Shanahan. Then maybe, I think this thing for him is like, then maybe Greasy gets a job. Maybe Slowik gets it. Like somebody from a Shanahan staff gets a job, and then you get to go and really be solidified in the offensive system, have a guy that believes in you, like all that kind of stuff. The team, I think there's 12 teams out there that could use a quarterback, might have a new quarterback next year. The Pats are one. The Steelers are one. The Broncos, the Giants, Commanders, Vikings, Bears. Falcons, Seahawks, Panthers, Tampa Bay, and the Raiders. I think half of those teams could draft quarterbacks. Like a lot of those teams could draft quarterbacks, maybe more than half. And so if you're Sam, do you want to go to the Commanders who just drafted a guy in the first round?
The problem is usually you make that decision in the middle of March and the draft's not till the end of April. It happens
sure.
To a lot, it happens to a lot of guys.
I think it's the argument for him staying that you're making, which is so many of these teams you could end up just being the guy who gets the first snap and then they go to the rookie week 3. Or the rookie the ties are going to go to the rookie in camp. Or if it's kind of close, they're going to go to the rookie instead of you. And it's just a weird spot. And then you're right back where you started before you were with the 49ers.
To me, I would agree there. Now, the problem, I think a lot of teams lie. Like, hey, I want you to be our bridge quarterback. We don't plan on drafting a guy. Or if we do, not in the first round.
More of a reason not to sign with any of those teams.
What if someone offers you one of those 1 year, $10 million and the Niners are offering $3 million? Like, I know the guy's already rich and everything, but listen, you just get 1 year, you get fucking $7 extra million. Like clearly he didn't have that many options at higher numbers. There is a chance. I think this game would be a big swing. Like if he just doesn't do really anything, I don't know if there's like a 1 year, $12 million offer. But if you tell me he throws like 3 or 4 touchdowns and Kyle's like, we fucking love this guy all year. We think he's taking huge strides. I don't think it's inconceivable. We see it happen all the time. It didn't really happen last year because that guy didn't exist, right? There was like the Jimmy Derek tier that both teams would probably want back. And then there was like Baker, Sam that were like under 5 million. Usually there is that guy in that weird like 9 to 13 million that like, hey, we'll give you some real money. You're not a guarantee to start all season long. We still might draft a guy, but we're giving you $12 million.
Yeah.
And
the Andy Dalton.
You could argue that just like there's just so many openings that it's not crazy that it might be on the table for him.
I think it will be, but Russell's going to take one. Cousins will take one, right? Maybe if he's healthy in time.
Could just go back. I could see Cousins just going back to Minnesota.
But they felt like they were done with him. Like they were ready to move on.
Yeah, then they started playing all these other quarterbacks and realized, fuck, we might have to bring him back.
Life wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're the classic. Like
how many teams though? Like to me, Russ is kind of pretty specific. Like I don't think there are gonna be like 5 teams like really interested in Russ.
No,
he might be cheap.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But
he's getting paid $37 next year from the Broncos, no matter what. So you might be able to get Russ just for $5 million, and then his total is whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't cost, even if he's like truly like a $14 million player right now, because of what he's getting with the Broncos, his contract could be kind of unique.
He can afford to go to the best place for him.
But do you think every team's going to be interested in him? Because I bet
no, I don't. But I know Atlanta's come up. I think this whole list of teams are teams that even if they're not bad, could like draft a quarterback at the end of the first round. And you just kind of in a tough spot if you're Sam. Now you're right. Maybe someone offers him twice what the Niners paid him, but maybe a Shanahan guy out there. Like if I were him, I'd be okay if a Shanahan guy wants me. But
maybe he really likes it.
I think he has to. How could he not?
There's a big difference. To me, the money thing is a big difference. Like it's just because their number is not going to dramatically change. He's going to be even with
it could
Purdy,
go down.
Yeah, I would say it would be somewhere give or take $2 to $5 million range. If it goes
This is
down a
the
little
old-
bit, or maybe go a little up. I do think there is a chance, especially if he looks just capable and throws a couple touchdowns, and he has positive momentum. Someone could just offer him $10 million.